So this lecture will be going over the jig fixture part A. So now when you first look at your blueprint, there's a lot going on. This is actually broken up into two assignments, as you might guess, with the point or the part A. Your next assignment will be doing the part B on it. So basically the way I have this split up, you're going to machine everything on this feature as part A. And everything on this side then, which is basically that, under part B. Okay? So when you look at your side, that will be done on part B. And then this all will be done on part A. Okay? So you're basically splitting this up into two features. And part B will be done in a fixture, not in a vise, but we'll go over that when we get there. So, part A. Now that we know what we're doing, okay, not exactly a whole lot of new machining concepts in here. So we're just going to kind of point out a couple of things. Notice you got your chamfers. So we're going to be using that chamfer tool again, 1500 RPMs, 5 inches per minute. You're going to be going around all your features, okay, with that and this, okay. So you're going to be doing this, and I guess also with this. You're going to be doing the inside with a G150, okay, and then also this inside with a G13. One thing you want to make sure you do with that G13, even though your stock is going to be 1 inch, okay, and your only thickness is 875, you want to make sure you go completely through with that 1 inch, because that's what you're going to be using to indicate your second setup. So you want to make sure that that's completely through to a finished size, so you have a nice clean surface to pick up with your indicator. If you don't do that, it becomes very difficult to set this part up for your second operation. So the other thing then you got to keep in mind with your chamfer tool is you have these holes down in here that also need to be chamfered. What I suggest you to do is watch what your sequence is going to be. You're probably going to face this off first, and then I would come through and do all your drilling features. Okay. Obviously these here you can chamfer because they're up at that top surface. Don't worry about chamfering these at this point though. Okay, you're going to come back and do that later. Then you come through, do all your drilling, drill this out with your 3/4 inch hole, your drill, get that pre-drilled out, and then you come through and do your roughing and your finishing, and then come through and do all your chamfering. And then when you do your chamfer these holes, you just have to take into account the depth of that pocket. The same thing when you chamfer that G13. So now obviously when you chamfer this, you're not going to be using the G150, but you can use that same, you can use the same coordinates that you programmed in your sub-program for the G150, but you just have to incorporate, it doesn't pay to go back and forth with your chamfer tool. So you're just going to program this, turn your cutter comp on, cut around that chamfer, and then cut off, okay? Keep in mind that when you're doing the depth, okay, even though our part finishes out at 875, we only have a 1 inch thick part, we really only need to go a little bit past that thickness because the remainder of this will get hacked off when we flip the part over. So you just have to calculate what that thickness would be, and you go from there. So yeah, I guess that just about sums it up. So chamfer, another part there where you might want to put initials on. This is probably a good place to put it. Utilize that G47. It's a good place to do it. But it's not required on this part. But so if you have any questions, please come to see me. Otherwise, good luck.